Alright, Shalom, Shalom. It's the brother Kadash. I want to start off by giving our praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash. Right? So, what you're seeing on your screen is a UFO sighting. So, this happened recently, not like recently, like last couple days, but I think it maybe was like a year ago. You're seeing it over a mountain. So, at first, when this sighting happened, they thought it was flares, but they used some type of technique to clear up the image, and now you can clearly see the triangle shape over the lights. Like flares, they come, they burn out, you can see clearly that they're flares, but with this, they said that it hovered and then it kind of like shot off, it took off after, right? So the triangle shape, there's been a lot of UFO sightings about triangle shaped objects in the sky, or like saucer objects in the sky. This could be a saucer too, it's just the lights are making a triangle shape on the saucer, or it could just be a triangle shaped object, So it doesn't take rocket scientists to understand that these things have been mentioned in the Bible. So when we go to the Bible and we put that together with like ancient paintings and stuff like that, and then we actually see these objects in real life, and there's sightings of these objects in real life, you put two and two together. So this object that I'm seeing in real life, and the Bible is saying different things, a whirlwind, a chariot, a flying road, right? That's what it's talking about, these same objects that we are seeing. So, there's be a lot of discrediting going on, different professors, scholars and stuff, they want to say that what you're seeing is demons and alien beings, rather than just saying that it's angels, right? It's angels of the Lord, like the Bible describes them. So the Bible says angels, mankind today says aliens. There's really no different, because the definition of what an alien is and the definition of what an angel is really can match up. You see, so it's really no difference. The Bible just used the word angels, right? So today they say, hey, it's a UFO or it's a spaceship, right? But the Bible doesn't refer to it as a ship or a spaceship. It refers to them as chariots, right? So the man in the Bible, to the best of their ability, tried to explain what they were seeing. So therefore, the word, hey, the vehicles that we used during the time of Elijah were chariot vehicles, right? You had the king, he would sit on it. You had wheels and you had horses that would pull the chariot. That's a chariot, right? So they, instead of saying, hey, this is a vehicle, because that's a word we use today, they said it's a chariot. So when they seen something in the sky, they didn't say it was a spaceship, because that's something that we use today. That's terms we use today. They said, hey, it's a chariot. But they'd give it more details. They'd say this is a chariot of fire, right? So when you see these lights in the sky, people think they're flares, right? So they may say, look, it's a fire in the sky. But they were saying, look, it's not just a fire in the sky, lightning or something like that. They saying, look, it's a chariot, meaning they were pretty much, if you translate that to our terms, they saying, look, this is a vehicle in the sky that looks like fire. Then you get more understanding when you go into Moses on the mountain and the fire bush. Now you're starting to understand, with a little bit of knowledge and wisdom, that the words that you're getting in the Bible was the best. These different men that wrote the Bible, which they always say men wrote the Bible. Yeah, Ezekiel. Yeah, Daniel. Yeah, Moses. Yeah, John the Revelator. Apostle Paul. Those are the men that wrote the Bible, right? So these men will try to explain these things to the best of their ability. So if you put yourself in their shoes and you go back during their time, if you see something in the sky and there's no such thing as planes and there's no such thing as helicopters, you might say it's a dragon. But it's not really a dragon, it's a spaceship, what we would say today. Or you might say, hey, it's a flying chariot. Meaning it's some type of flying vehicle, right? You might say this right here. This is Zechariah chapter 5. You may say this right here. Zechariah 5 verse 1. Then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roe. So you may turn and look up your eyes and say, so in today's turn, if we turn and we look up our eyes and look up the sky and we see something, we're going to say something, hey, there's a spaceship in the sky. Or we're going to say, hey, it's a UFO, which is an unidentified flying object in the sky. During daytime, they turned, he lifted up his eyes and said, hey, there's a flying row in the sky. You see? And then it goes into more detail. Verse 2, and he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying row. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof is 10 cubits. So he seen it so clear, he was able to tell you the dimensions of what he was seeing flying. Nothing should have been flying during the time of Zechariah. Look it up. So if something was flying, we will refer to whatever was flying as a UFO today. And it was actually a vehicle. Now when it says he said unto me, who is that? That's an angel. So now you're starting to see the angels, whenever these flying objects will pop up, also the angels will pop up. Remember in the book of Matthew, right? When Yahushua, when the angel was talking to Mary, Joseph, there was always a light in the sky that popped up, or something happening in the sky. That's the vehicles, man. Let's keep going. Verse 3 says, then said he unto me, this is a curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. So the Bible never referred to, okay, there's a flying object or there's a light in the sky and then there's an alien. It always calls whatever's coming from that flying object or that light in the sky, it calls them angels. So that's what we say today. But, the world History Channel and everything, Ancient Aliens, they like to say, oh, it's an ancient civilization or it's an alien, rather than just calling it what the Bible historically call it, which is an angel. But you're really saying the same thing, right? It says this is the curse. So the angel is explaining to Zechariah what he's looking at in the sky. He said this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. Because now that's giving you more insight on future prophecies. Why is it the curse? Because these flying objects are going to be used for war. It's going to be a curse to the earth. They're going to destroy. And to back that up, go into Revelations chapter 12. Go into 2nd Esdras chapter 13. Go into Revelations chapter 19. When it talks about the Lord coming back with wrath, fire, and brimstone, but he's going to be on a white horse. It's not talking about a literal horse. It's just referring to whatever he's on or whatever he's operating in the sky as is referring and is a metaphor for something that was used as a vehicle or transportation in those days. So a horse will be used as transportation. That's why you have something called horsepower today in your cars. You don't literally have horses and getting power from it in your car, but it just that's the term that's made up to the power that your car is using. So it's just like whatever the Lord is coming back, which the world calls UFO today, you may say it's a horse because that's what the transportation was during your time. But it's not a literal horse, just like a Mustang is not a literal Mustang or a literal horse, or a Ferrari isn't a literal horse, it's an actual vehicle. You see how this works? But you still refer to the car as having horsepower or a horse because it has a horse on the front of it. Hellcat ain't really a cat out of hell, but you refer to the car as a Hellcat, even though it's actually a vehicle, a performance vehicle. So it's the same thing with the chariots in the sky. They may be referred to as a horse, a cloud, but it's not literally a cloud. It's being likened to a cloud because it floats in the air like a cloud. It's being likened to a horse because whoever's operating the craft is riding on or in the craft like you would ride on a horse, using a horse for transportation. Same thing with a row, man, a flying row, right? Because the shape of it looked like a row. So it was a flying row, right? Now it says the curse that go over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it. And everyone that sweareth shall be cut off on this side according to it. And then you go to Revelations, I believe 20 or 20 or 19, where it talks about the punishment for the people, liars that should be cast in the lake of fire. So if you really put it together, it's telling you this lake of fire is going to be created by whatever these UFOs in the sky are. right? It says, I will bring, so it's going to be on earth, not under the earth. It says, I will bring it forth, say the Lord of hosts. So the Lord is in control of whatever this flying roll is. And he's in control of this flying roll being a curse over the earth during Judgment Day. So the picture that you have on your screen, is the Lord in control of this craft that's in the sky? Yes. It says, and I will bring it forth, say the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter the house of the thief, and into the house of him that swear falsely by my name. So where's the house of the thief? Isn't America the house of a thief? Because wasn't the land stolen by theft, robbery, and deceit? Right? The land wasn't just sold to European settlers. No, they came over with trickery. They made peace agreements, peace treaties. They broke them. They had a gold rush. They had the Indian Removal Act, where they were removing Indians by force from their land, which is stealing the land. California, shit, even Midwest, even New Mexico, Arizona, that all belonged to Mexico. How you think they got it? They took it by theft. You had the Trail of Tears, where Indians were being removed and relocated by force, not by a deal. So this is the land of theft, man. It says, into the house of him that swears falsely by my name. And then they built this country by on the Bible, said they were Christians, but it was falsely because they were hypocrites, man, and contradicting. They didn't follow the Lord's word. And it should remain in the midst of the house, and should consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. So these chariots are going to come and consume this place. Verse 5, then the angel that talked with me, so we proven that it was an angel, and there was a flying roll. Put two and two together. The angel came from the flying roll, the spaceship. And it says, and went forth and said unto me, lift up now thy eyes and see what is this that goeth forth. So he like, look, man, lift up your eyes and see what goes. And it goes on and on and on, explaining what this craft is in the sky. You see, so the world is going to find out when these crafts, when the time comes. We already know because we just follow the Lord's words. You see, so this place, America's hypocrite, because you built it based off the Bible. That's what you say, but you don't follow the Bible, because the Lord told you about certain things and certain laws that you pass and certain things that you do not to do. So you follow your own way. See, this is the thing. People say, well, why are these crafts just flying around? They hiding themselves. They scared. Nobody can get a clear picture. Bro, you got to think of the distance this picture was took to that craft in the sky. No camera has the ability, except for like highly developed, top-notch microscopes, to really get a clear image. And you got to think of all the sky that's in between the guys taking the image and all the debris, all the wind, until you actually get to the physical location this craft is sitting in the sky. You're not going to get a clear image, man. Right? But you got to understand, like, these crafts, it tells us, the Bible tells us what these crafts are for. And I'll pull it up, right? Let's show you what these crafts are for. Right now, let's show you. Because they're going to be used for different reasons. They're going to be used to bring that destruction at some point in time. But for right now, this is what they're being used. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro. What is the Bible talking about when it says the eyes of the Lord? Is the Lord's eyes literally going to and fro through the earth? No. What is the Lord's eyes? What is another thing for the Lord's voice? The angels. They're messengers. They carry the Lord's voice, meaning whatever the Lord say, they carry it and deliver it to whoever it may be. Daniel, Ezekiel, any of the prophets. And they're also the eyes of the Lord. Right? It says the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect towards him. Herein thou hast done foolishly. Therefore from henceforth thou shalt have wars. Right? Let's go here. So the eyes of the Lord is going to and fro through the earth, right? By the way of these UFOs. I'm going to go ahead and give you the answer. The UFOs, the angels, They're right now, they're just going to and fro on the earth, and they're refereeing everything. They're keeping eye on everything. They're reporting of things that happen to the Lord. That's how it works. That's what they're doing. They're not here to show themselves. They're not here to fight right now. They're here to keep an eye on his elect, his prophets, deliver messages, and keep an eye on the operations and what's happening on the earth. Right? So they're supposed to be discreet right now in order to keep eye on things without intervening. But there's going to be a time when the Lord says, which no man knows that day, that they're actually going to intervene. Right? So when these angels are going through in these UFOs or these chariots, like the Bible calls them, and they're keeping eyes on everything, right? They're doing this. Revelation 8. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was a silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw the seven angels, so we talk about the angels again, which stood before God, and to them were given seven trumpets. And another angel came and stood on the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayer of the saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayer of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. So what happened? The angels went to and fro, keeping eyes on everything. They heard the prayers, seen the prayers of the saints, and they took those messages and those prayers of the saints, and they took those prayers back to the Lord. Which today, how does that look like? The angels, UFOs, keeping track of everything. They hear the prayers of the saints. They see what the saints are going through in the world. They record these things. They go back to where the Lord is dwelling, and they report to the Lord, hey, this is what's happening on earth. This is what's happening to the elect. This is what's happening to the saints. This is what they're praying for. That's literally what that means. And ascended up before God out the angel's hand. He took the prayers. Now, can you take the prayers of the saints and it's a physical thing that you hold in your hand? No. It's written in a parable. It's just saying that he took the prayers of the saints and he reported it back to the Lord. So when you see these UFOs around the world, they're keeping track of things that's happening in the world, what man is doing on earth. They're delivering the prayers of the saints to the Lord. So that means they're keeping track of the saints and keeping an eye on the saints. And also things that just going on with the earth. Natural events. They could cause them. They could stop them from happening. If the elect is in Miami and there's a hurricane that's coming that's going to kill one of the Lord's prophets or elect men that's elected to be saved, they may come and stop the hurricane. Or they may come and just protect him. And you may actually see them while they're doing it. And that's why you get pictures like this. So that's what's happening. That's the answer to your questions. And we're using the Bible to do it. So back to Habakkuk 2, right? Verse 5. Yeah, also because they transgressive by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as deaf and cannot be satisfied, but gather into him all nations, just like America, God place where all nations are gathered together, and heapeth into him all people. Now, to even go deeper, America is Mystery Babylon that's spoken about in Revelation 17 and Revelation 18. So it's just showing you back to where it says the curse that goeth forth into the house of the thief. Well, America was stolen. And it tells you this right here. Verse 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establish a city with iniquity. How was America established? From its core, from its foundation. It was established from war, blood, and iniquity. And that's what it's built off of. So that curse, these UFOs, you're going to see them in America. But the time is coming where they're actually going to get the green light to do other tasks that the Lord wants them to do, and that's going to be war, and that's going to look like this right here. Let's show you how that's going to look. See, your Ancient Aliens on History Channel, they can't break this down this way. Revelate, and all you got to do is know the Bible to be able to answer these questions. Isn't that a great thing? That's how you know the Holy Spirit is working with you. Revelations 12, verse 7. And there was a war in heaven. So at some point in time, there's going to be a war in heaven. Now watch this. Michael and his angels. So the angels, we already established that the angels operate these crafts. So these crafts and the angels are going to have a war in the heaven and fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. Is this talking about a literal dragon? No, it's talking, when it says the beast, is it talking about a literal beast? No, it's talking about the dragon. It's talking about the 7 heads, man, and the 10 horns, which represents nations of people, man, armies, right? It says, and the dragon fought and his angel. It represents NATO, right? NATO, the EU, their power structure, and the Edomites and their kingdoms that they had. Their various different kingdoms, where it be Greeks, Romans, Spaniards, French, Germaner Major, Germaner Minor, Britain, you know, the 7 heads. I probably left a couple out, but you get the point, you know. Because that's not my point, but my point is, it's going to be a war in the heaven. So, like, for me to understand this, I might say, man, what does that mean? Right? I show you the same event, but with more detail to let you know what it means, right? Revelations 19. Revelation 19, starting at verse 19. And I saw the beast, so same thing, the beast. Isn't the dragon a beast? Right? And the kings of the earth. So now Revelation 19 is giving you more detail. It's actually, the beast is the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together, because their armies are their angels. They're the angels of, if you're an army, man, that's no different than saying you're an angel for this country or whatever kings of the earth that you're in their armies. It says, gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. Now, we already established that it's not a literal horse that the Lord is sitting on. It's a spaceship, and they're gathered together to make war against him. It says, and against his army, which the one that sits on the horse is talking about, who the world calls Jesus, but his name is Yahweh Shai. He's sitting on a horse, and his army is clearly, obviously, the angels. So it's talking about the same event, but it's just giving you more detail of what the beast or what the dragon actually is, which is the kings of the earth and their armies. So these UFOs and these angels are actually going to have a war at some point in time, and then the whole world is going to see them when that time happens. And that takes you back to Revelation chapter 1, right, where it says, verse 7, behold, he cometh with clouds. They're just being likened into clouds, but it's not literal clouds that he's coming with, vapor and mist. It's these spaceships, man, these chariots, these vehicles, whatever word you want to call them. It says, and every eye shall see him. So at this point in time, it's not going to be no longer blurry pictures, blurry videos. You can't really see them. They're moving super fast. They're super far distance. They're going to be in plain sight, just like when Zechariah seen the flying robe. It says, every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced them. So what is he going to do to those that pierced them? He going to go to war with them, like it said in Revelation 19. And all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. Why is the earth wailing? Because they're gonna be fearful when the Lord returns, and every eye could see these UFOs in the sky, and they're no longer hiding or cloaking themselves. You could see them in plain sight, warring with fighter jets and army men and pilots in the sky. It's going to be a very, very fearful thing. Just to go back to Ezekiel 1, right, which Ezekiel 1 kind of just gives you more detail on the angels and the chariots, right, which I just want to get straight to the point. Verse 12, and they went every one straight forward, whither the spirit was to go, they went, and they turned not when they went. So just like a UFO, they don't have to turn like a fighter jet or like a plane. They could just go whatever direction. See, it's explaining to you what these things are in the Bible. So when we see that and we see a craft or a UFO doing that in the sky, we say, hey, that sounds just like what Ezekiel 1 said. They don't have to turn where they go, they just go. So the Bible, this been happening during the time even of Ezekiel, and he's explaining to you what they are and what they do. It says, as for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and like the appearance of lamps. And it went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright and out of the fire went forth lightning. They have weapons, man. It tells you that in the Apocrypha in Second Maccabees. I believe it may be 5 or maybe 10, where the chariots, the UFOs was putting on a demonstration in the sky. I think for like 40 days, and it put fear upon the people because they seen the UFOs doing like war games in the sky, man. But the angels come in like a spirit of fire, but they also appear as men. They could appear as men. At the same time, the UFOs aren't like what you think a spaceship is. The UFOs are also living. And that may sound like, wait, so it's a spacecraft that's living? But if you take a Tesla, right, and you take it back to the time of Ezekiel, he might say that it was a living beast. Because you can't really see an engine in it, but it comes on. It could move up and down. Music could come from it. It could flash. The lights could come on. It could drive and move different places without even nobody operating it. That's AI technology. So AI technology gives the ability to vehicles and machinery to basically react as if it's an actual living thing. So when you look at that movie, what's the movie called? Not Don't Look Up, but the other movie with the UFO. Damn, I forgot the name, right? But it was a movie that just came out with a UFO that was in a cloud, and the people, they were on a ranch, and the UFO was pretty much just hunting them, and it'll hide itself and cloak it in the cloud, right? I don't think it was called Damn. I don't think it was called Don't Look Up or Oh Shit or something like that. I forgot the name of it. But they showed the UFO as actually a living thing. It wasn't no monster or no beast inside of it. It was just the craft was living. And it was actually eating stuff. So we gonna find out exactly what it is. Right? It says, and the living creature ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. That's very quick moving. Now, as I beheld the living creature, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creature with his four face. So what's this wheel? Right? And the appearance of the wheels and their works was like unto the color of beryl, and therefore had one likeness in their appearance, and their work was it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. You call that a flying saucer. You see a circle, and then you see another circle in the middle of it that opens up, kind of like that movie, which I can't remember the movie. Let me see if I could look it up. I think it came out, let's say, 2021. I can't remember. I lost it. I gotta remember somebody that played in the movie, which I can't remember her name either. Oh, no. Jordan Poole? Nope. No, yeah, there it go. The movie Nope. Check out the movie Nope, man. It kind of gives you a lot of insight on these UFOs, hiding, cloaking in the clouds, and actually the UFO as being living, right? It's just like if you take if we take a spaceship, right? Or it's just like if you take a probe and Elon Musk or NASA sends a probe to Mars. If someone was on Mars and they seen that probe, they'd probably say it was a beast walking around. Because you don't see anything like a human or nothing, but you see whatever this robot, you see it walking around, you see it taking pictures, you see it taking stuff from its body and taking up samples and putting it back inside itself, look like it's eating, so you kind of see that, and it's like, That's something that's living. You see? And when you look at the movie Nope, they got a really good picture of the craft. But it looks like a flying saucer at one point, but it's actually like a living being that's hunting them, you know? Just check that movie Nope out. You'll see what I'm saying. You'll be like, oh shit. And you'll be like, damn, so that is spoken about in the Bible kind of the same way Ezekiel 1 is explaining. You know, so this has been a quick breakdown on the UFOs, you know. The time is coming. Salvation to the elect. Shalom.